అరుదు తాళపాక అన్నమయ్య పదములు.
Namaste. Welcome to Tamrapatra Conversations on all things Annamacharya. Tamrapatra Conversations, a monthly series of conversations ideated and anchored by renowned dancer, scholar, speaker, writer, Dr. Anita Ratnam, where she explores all the myriad aspects of Annamacharya's literature and music, along with Dr. Anupama Kailash, our scholar, dancer, writer, speaker, who shares her immense knowledge of Annamacharya through these Tamrapatra conversations. These conversations also invite the upcoming dancer, guru, choreographer of the next session of Tamrapatra. So thank you, Dr. Anita Ratnam, for being such a generous host and agreeing to anchor each and every of these Tamrapatra conversations. Welcome once again to Tamrapatra Conversations.
Thank you, Ananda. I can't believe it's conversation number 5 and your month number 4, and the weeks are, just, hurtling forward.
Yes.
But what is so amazing is look at the wonderful interest, look at the kind of, juggernaut effect that Annamacharya composition, not that he ever needed popularity, but I think he's been given a huge boost through this series. Well, this month, Ananda, it's quite interesting because we have a new heroine in Annamacharya's compositions. It's not Alamelu Mangai,
Yes.
and it is somebody quite different. And also, we don't have his melodious, beautiful Telugu. We are dealing with a Sanskrit combination.
Absolutely.
A composition.
Yes.
Sanskrit, yeah. So one never or rarely associates Annamacharya with Sanskrit. We always think of him with his inimitable Telugu.
Telugu, yes.
But both of us, Ananda, share a very parallel early initiation, if you will, into Sanskrit with both our mothers.
Yes, of course.
Being such, so in love with the language. So I remember my mother learning all the shlokas and Valmiki Ramayanam, Gandam by Gandam. And so for me as a young child, I was told very clearly that Smriti and Shruti, listen and repeat, which Sanskrit is perfect with. So the listen and repeat actually helped my memory, as I'm sure it helped yours.
Yes, of course.
And
Yes.
later, when I went into theatre school, I remember being able to memorize long monologues or scripts like really easily, to the amazement of my classmates. But dance, in the world of dance, I didn't learn Sanskrit compositions early. It was only even when Lakshman sir was teaching me, my mother is the one who insisted on having almost like a prologue, a Sanskrit shloka.
Yes.
No matter what the rest of the composition, what language it was, because she said she believed that that Sanskrit shloka sung in an alapana style would actually settle the audience's mind and make them sort of prepared, sort of prepare them for what was to follow. And of course, Kalakshetra,
Yes.
where the one and only Periya Sharda teacher, with an enormous knowledge of Sanskrit. But I'm going to let you take it over from here.
Yes, I think as you rightly said, I think we live in parallel universes and similar parallel universes. My mother was also a Sanskrit scholar. She studied in the Madras Sanskrit School. So my introduction to Sanskrit, like you, like almost all of us in South India, has happened with early shloka learning. And then later, of course, Kalakshetra, Sharda teacher, and my sitting in Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad classes with Shankar Menon sir, asking him if I had to write an exam for Bhagavad Gita. And he said, no, my little goose, no more exams, no exams for Bhagavad Gita. But coming back from Kalakshetra, learning, of course, from Periya Sharda teacher, my foray into dance choreography, into dance dramas, had a lot of Sanskrit. Like my first production, Sri Krishna Mande Jagatgurum, was all Sanskrit. Uttam Sharanam Gacchami was all Sanskrit from 1st century BC's Aspaghosha's text. In fact, even earlier to that, my Tyagaraja Ramayana, which many of you have seen and it's pretty popular for a long time, My mother strung together. She composed the Sanskrit shlokas of Valmiki, which became the string to connect the various Tyagaraja kritis, and of course the Gita-upadesha. So I think Sanskrit has been an essential spine of all my choreography. I'm comfortable with Sanskrit. I can't speak, but when I read a Sanskrit text which is not very complicated, almost 50-60% I can understand, and then of course I go to scholars. So I think Sanskrit has helped me, fine tune my choreography. I think it expands. It expanded my my whole breadth of understanding of the arts, and yes, and it became a exquisitely easy window to understand Telugu, because Telugu is so much of Sanskrit. So for me, that was a big support that I knew Sanskrit. I think.
Yeah, I think Sanskrit for Ananda, for all the young dancers watching and
Yes.
listening,
Yes,
it's a language worth pursuing and delving deeper into.
I would
Because
think
if
so.
I can understand Malayalam and Kannada and Telugu, it's only because of the Sanskrit words
Yes,
that connect the three languages,
Yes,
including Tamil, a kind of Tamil which is not in use anymore in terms of what the media uses and what we hear
yes,
in public speeches. But Tamil also had, Sanskrit, and so the early and we call it Mani Pravalam, right?
yes,
Where
yes,
Sanskrit mixed. So I
Yes.
think that but unlike you, Ananda, I have to say that you've really used Sanskrit very consciously
yes,
in your productions. I've used it sparingly, but whenever I've used, because I've used more sound design,
Mhm.
but when I've reached for lyric or words, it has inevitably been a strain of Sanskrit, or it's
think-
been, especially Muthuswami Dikshitar, whom I'm
yes,
really, really
yes,
so
yes.
fond of.
Yeah. I think
So I
Sanskrit
think that-
Sanskrit gives you that, the possibility of the alliteration and the possibility of the extraordinary allegories and metaphors which are embedded in the kind of Sanskrit poetry that we are talking about. The early classical literature, or even earlier to the classical literature. I think that that enables the dancer to spread the visual more, layer it more. And I think what you rightly said is, young dancers, even if they're not trained in Sanskrit, it's probably a good time now to invest in learning Sanskrit. There's so many online courses in Sanskrit. Not necessarily the Shabda Manjari. I mean, the grammar part is nice, but just to understand the way the language flows and the possibilities. And I think it's something worth that young dancers should do. Go and learn some Sanskrit.
Well, so many people are learning so many things. Why not Sanskrit?
Why not?
That's what,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell me,
why not
Anita,
Sanskrit?
you have been so you have been wedded to Andal in that sense. Andal has owned you, and you have owned Andal. Have you ever looked at Radha in your choreographies at any time? How has Radha been in your life?
Actually, no. She has not come front and center in my mind space. But
Okay.
she lurks there because, I'm more connected to, I think I would say, the South Indian landscape of Bhakti, maybe up to Maharashtra.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really, although Orissa and Bengal are very, very fascinating because, I'm also very, very, I closely follow the sort of mother goddess, sacred feminine
Yes.
kind of path as well. But I haven't really delved into Radha as a character.
Right.
And she remains an enigma, she remains a mystery. So she's like a mist to me. She floats. And the first item I learned was Anashtapati in Kalakshetra. I didn't learn it before.
Was it that? Or was it Rase? Which one was it? The first one.
Okay. First one.
Anturali. Yes.
So, and I remember learning it from Chinna Sharada teacher.
Yes.
And Chinna Sharada teacher is known for a technique, not necessarily the soft romantic contours of Abhinaya, but it was the first Ashtapati that I learned, or when Radha was the heroine or the protagonist. The next time I attempted it was when O.S. Arun told me before our tour of the UK that why don't you do Priya Charushile, because I've set it in this beautiful ragam, and I think it'll be wonderful.
I've seen that
really
production.
slowly.
I've seen that work. I think you walk across there, or you walk across in a diagram.
Yes, walk
Yes, I've
across a
seen that
long
work.
diagonal
Yes, I've seen that
with
work.
a dupatta. And
Yes.
that was about 25 years ago at Royal Festival Hall, Queen Elizabeth Hall. But after that, I didn't really go back to Radha. You know, we can't miss the amazing Pichwai paintings,
Yes.
you know, in the tradition of Krishna, the Ras. And so she's very much there as that special Gopika. But she hasn't really, or let's say, I have not engaged with her enough in choreography. But I think it's time now, Ananda, to welcome our scholar for the series.
Yes, I will do that. But before that, I will also share my own Radha. She came into my life in 1987 when I did Krishna Mandir Jagatguru, you know, as a 3-part production. First part was Bala Kandam, and of course, the second part was, I called it Radha Madhavam. And then, of course, the Gita Updesham. So she was in this gorgeous red costume and all that. So it's time to invite, as you rightly said, Dr. Anupama Kailash, because this time the topic is Radha's Mystique. So here we go. Anupama, welcome. So thank you, Dr. Anupama Kailash, for joining us for Tamrapatra Conversation Session 5. Our scholar, Annamacharya, ideator, Annamacharya, what shall I say? She brings everything of Annamacharya to Tamrapatra. Thank you so much, my dear young friend. We're all in blue, so I think there's something about the Krishna magic. Over to you, Anita, for all your interesting questions that will open up the many layers of Radha today.
Anupama, thank you, of course, for being who you are, and I now call you the Akshay Patra.
Absolutely.
I mean, we ask and you keep giving and you keep giving. And that's amazing. It's like you are like that one grain of rice and everything keeps coming, right?
Absolutely.
So now we have a Sanskrit composition of Annamacharya. And for a change, Alumila Manga is not the protagonist. She's not the heroine. And we have Radha. Now, Annamacharya is known for his beautiful Telugu.
Yes.
Very easily composed Radha Krishna in Telugu itself, but he's chosen Sanskrit.
Yes.
And also there is, of course, Jayadeva's Gita Govinda, 12th century in Orissa, and Annamacharya in the 15th century.
Yes.
So why do you think he switched from Telugu to Sanskrit? And what has been the influence of the Gita Govinda and Jayadeva on Annamacharya's compositions?
He has composed many Sanskrit compositions on Rama, and there are multiple compositions. But when it comes to Radha Krishna, he has primarily chosen only Sanskrit. And I believe strongly that this is a very, very deep influence of Jayadeva's Gita Govindam on him. Because also we can see that whenever the composition is on Radha Krishna or on Radha, it will exceed 8 charanams. So he's also influenced by that. The Rama compositions and the other compositions, he follows his usual pattern of the Pallavi and the 3 charanams. But for this, there are multiple charanams. And also I think the whole methodology of the Prabandha that Jayadeva, brought to the Gita Govindam, and Annamacharya himself being very influenced by the Prabandha chapter of the Sangita Ratnakara, as it is mentioned in his own work, Sankirtana Lakshanam. I think it's very, very obvious. And it's not only in the usage of Sanskrit, but I think even in the way he constructs his images, the way he projects Radha, I think it's deeply influenced by Jayadeva. And I don't think it's just Radha. I think he's generally very, very influenced by that methodology. And I think every Krishna Bhakti poet who came after Jayadeva has a little of Jayadeva in all their works.
But the Sanskrit is different. The Sanskrit is different.
Very different. Very different. The methodology, the chandas, and the usage of words. Annamacharya's Sanskrit itself is pretty different from, even the earlier Kavya kind of a Sanskrit, or Kalidasa's Sanskrit, or Jayadeva Sanskrit. This is he has a lot of brevity in his Sanskrit, Annamacharya. The lines and the phrases are very brief and succinct, but I don't know why he adopts that methodology, but yes, it's very different, the Sanskrit. Yes.
Do you think, Anupama, what is the position Annamacharya gives Radha? Because we always thought for him Venkatachalapati and Alamelumanga were the only two shining lights in his entire worldview. But here comes Radha. So where do you think he places her?
So I think since he is deeply influenced by the Bhagavata Puran idea, of course, the Bhagavata Puran doesn't mention Radha, but it mentions only a very dear Gopika of Krishna. But we obviously can infer that it is Radha. But since he is influenced by the Bhagavata Puran and all the existing Shakta principles also connected to Krishna Bhakti, Radha being a Shakti, it's very interesting that he has written on multiple Vaishnava, in fact, the only one in Telugu to write on all the major godheads of Vaishnavism, like Vishnu, Rama, Krishna, Venkateshwara. He's written songs on everyone. And ultimately, all the deities become Venkateshwara towards the end, and all the female deities become Alamelumanga. But he doesn't do that with Radha. He holds Radha as the supreme Shakti. And he simply says, with the compassion of Venkateshwara, she is the one who decides what happens in the universe. So he has not equated her to Alamelumanga or to anybody else. Because even according to the Brahma Vaivarta Puranam and other, if you look at it, all these deities have appeared from the Paratattva called Radha. So that is how it has been projected, and I think he keeps that tenor.
Is that why you have titled this session Radha's Mystique? Is there any particular reason you've done that for?
Yes, because Radha has always been a very elusive and a very mysterious character in the Puranas also. So even when the Gopalatapini Upanishad or any of these texts, whenever they talk about Radha, they don't talk about her as separate from Krishna. So she and Krishna are always treated as one entity. And we hear of this idea called Keshava Keli Rahasyam, which is part of the Jayadeva's song also. So this Keli actually reveals to us what is the place of Radha, because Krishna is the inaccessible Para, and she is the only one who can, as his Swarupa Shakti, be in touch with Krishna. And it is she who multiplies herself into hundreds of gopis. And it is she and he who are at the center of that Maharas or the Rasalila Mandala also, which is actually nothing but a representation of the Sri Chakra, even that. So when we look at the Maharas idea. So I think that is why Radha is this very, fascinating Paramatattva, and her manifestation is not to be revealed. She has always been, it's always been kept as a very secret, energy, which you can achieve only through sadhana and not through understanding. I think that's how she's always been treated, and he has kept it like that.
Very mystical and esoteric, That's the.
I said earlier, Ananda, she's like a mist.
She's a mist. Absolutely.
Yes.
Lady of the mist.
Yeah. And I know that there are several places where you can go, Vrindavan, for instance, and they would greet you Radhe Radhe.
Yes.
Yeah. So she is, she's adored and worshipped and venerated. And it took a few more centuries until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for it to for her to be sort of firmly established.
Yes.
Right.
So the momentum was building from Jayadeva, and Annamacharya sort of, as you said, couldn't help but be influenced by that.
Yes.
Yes. Even in this song, he uses the word Dvidha. So that is the dual entity of Radha, which is actually one. So he's used that.
Something like, we were discussing, some Krishna Tattvam you were saying, the concept
the
of Krishna
Tattvam of Radha, that the Swarupa Shakti, the Haladini Shakti concept of Radha being, he says in a flash of lightning, Radha may appear to be two, Dvidha, but she's one. So this kind of, it's also, of course, a lot to do with the tantric principles of, feminine and masculine balance of power. So I think it's a lot to do with those ideas also. Yes, Radha is a big mystery and to be
And it's
revealed
a-
only through
It's an
sadhana.
amazing, mystical concept, but comes to us in such a beautiful, simple way. Whether it's Jayadeva, whether it's Annamacharya, or anyone else who speaks of Radha, I think it's very mystical at the same time very simple.
And I think what Jayadeva did must have influenced Annamacharya very deeply, because the Bhagavata Puran, as vague as they make Radha, Jayadeva has made her that clear and that
Yes.
prominent. And everything that was not there in the Bhagavata Puran, Jayadeva has done that in his work. So I think that must have really influenced a poet like Annamacharya, because for him, everything that is not known about Alamelu Manga, he has revealed. So
What
I
do you
think
say about this upcoming Sankirtanam, Atishobhiteyam Radha? It's very simple. It seems to me very simple. But as we were discussing, maybe a few lines on that.
So yes, it's a deceptively simple piece. I would call it deceptively simple, because when you look at it, it simply says, the woman who's extremely beautiful, the woman who is extremely powerful. This is Radha. This is Radha. So it goes in that thing. But there are some lines in that which actually reveal to us how complex and layered the meanings are. For example, he says, Darpaka Bala Bodha Radha. That is, she is the power that makes the power of love visible to Krishna.
Wow.
So she, and this we find in multiple places in the Gita Govindam, where, there are references to Madana taking Ashraya in Radha in order to be able to even do anything. So I think these little phrases he has used, and he says she is like a creator. She's like Brahma. He has compared her to Brahma and says she is the only one who creates. And it's so identical to what Jayadeva says in his slokam, Vishvesham Anuranjanena. He says he quickens all things to create bliss in the world. Identical usage he has used for Radha here. So I think it's just surface simple, but it's extremely, it brings out the entire tattva, the Krishna Radha tattva, this song.
Beautiful.
I think it's, as Ananda and I were talking before you entered the conversation, Sanskrit has the capacity of being very dense. And, 3 shabdas can be split and each can mean something,
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the great sophisticated qualities of the language. So with that and with all these other layers that you are actually suggesting, I think it's a choreographer's dream to be able to just create kind of a landscape, of what, and it's going to be so fascinating to see it done in the Mohiniyattam style.
Absolutely.
So I think it's something that we're really waiting for. So let's invite our featured choreographer and teacher for this month, Gopika Verma. Welcome, Gopika. On behalf of the Tamrapatra series, Ananda and Anupama, we are delighted that you are here. And it's one of our dreams, that why should a composer from one part of India not be, shared and reimagined by other styles and so many other genres. And Annamacharya, my God, we've grown up listening to his songs. My 4-year-old grandnephew goes to sleep with his Jojo Achyutananda, let me tell you. Generation is still, he is amazing. This is such an amazing composer. But Gopika, we're interested in how you have approached this particular Sanskrit composition of Annamacharya. But tell me before we start, have you done Annamacharya Kritis before?
I have done Sriman Narayana, which is a very, very popular one in Mohiniyattam. Then I have done this Bhavayami Gopala Balam. Bhavyami Gopala Balam. So these are the only two items which I have done because I like to do only Sanskritam pieces so that it will merge with my style. That is Mohiniyattam.
Another Sanskrit lover.
So and I'm a great fan of Sanskritam. So when Ananda spoke to me, the only condition I had was that Ananda, please give me a Sanskritam piece. And she said it is very, very difficult, Gopika, because most of his kritis are in Telugu. And
He found you a
I know,
really nice one. Anupama found you a really beautiful one.
but I'm so thankful to both of you because it is such a beautiful piece, and it is just that is there in my ears, you know. I cannot take it out from that. And beautifully, when I was listening to the music, I thought I should do this as male version. Because not many dancers don't get to dance male version of a Shringara Padam. Always Shringara Padam is for female artist. So I thought I should do this for a male dancer and let me choreograph from the version of Krishna, pining for Radha,
That's interesting.
thinking about Radha. So let it be from Krishna's side. Then when I'm hearing more, I said, no, this has to be Radha. So when I'm teaching three versions. That is, one is Krishna's version of approaching this Kirtana. That is for a male dancer. Then I'm having Radha's version. That is for a girl who can dance and she can approach the Padam. And the most beautiful thing is both of them can dance together.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
So
exciting.
I'm choreographing in a way that it can be done in a 3-dimension. Either you can do it together by solo. So many male dancers complain to me that all Mohiniyattam Padams or Swadhyatranal Padams or let it be, most of Ashtapadis are for girls to do it. So I thought, no, this has all the flair for both. Actually, we can see a fourth version also, that dreams, fourth version also can be done. So I'm planning.
Anupama,
Because it was very
you have to give her
difficult,
4 days.
Ananda.
2 days may not be enough. She's got so many versions.
And one thing, Ananda, what I have done is,
Wonderful.
a lot of artists ask me, Chechi, they all call me Chechi, I have become an universal Chechi. So they all ask me, Chechi, can you give us a Swadhyatranal Padam? Can you give us some Ireman Thambi Padam? Or we want to do in other styles also. So I thought, let this style not only for Mohiniyattam.
Okay.
This
I'm
particular
just going to ask
Kirtana.
that question. Yeah.
Yeah, this I have choreographed in a way that it can be used for all the styles.
Wonderful.
One of my Odissi friend also wanted to join this our program because she said, always I am doing Ashtapati. Let me do something else other than Ashtapati.
Exactly.
That's
So
the premise
this-
of Tamrapatra also, that, every style, everybody can do, can learn from the minds and the creative impulses of all the choreographers.
And Venuji has sung so
Yes.
beautifully, with so much of bhava. When I listen to him, that bhava, I don't have to choreograph bhava. That is there within.
It's in a beautiful ragam, it's in the Desakshi ragam, which is considered an
Older,
ancient
very old
ragam.
raga.
Very
Very,
old
very
ragam. Probably the
Janyam.
Janyam of Harikambhoji. Some say Shankarabharanam. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but it is a rather old ragam, and it's very beautifully. He's composed it very beautifully.
And I have asked my singer Sudev Arya to do the number of times. And
Yes,
all.
of course.
Definitely this music, I have to record it. And I want to dance. And I want to just, I'm waiting for to open, and I want to do this at the earliest because it is so beautiful. Thank you
Gopika,
so much.
I wanted to ask you choreographically, when you're doing Krishna from Krishna's point of view, and you're using Mohiniyattam, which is essentially such a feminine form, are you adapting the way you stand, your Angika Abhinaya? Are you adapting it in a way that is less curved, or the curvatures are sort of minimized? I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nowadays we have many Mohiniyattam male dancers also. So they are also looking for nice items which they can perform, because Mohiniyattam male dancers are also in search for good items where they can perform. And I will be talking about Mohiniyattam. If I'm doing Krishna like this, Mohiniyattam as Ananda did in Mohiniyattam. But if a Bharatanatyam dancer has to do it, we will do it like this. And if a Kathak dancer has to do it, it has to be like this. So we will put every mudra in many styles,
Oh, wonderful.
so that everybody can use it. Because this is such a beautiful piece, everybody should do it.
Wow.
Because
But I'm waiting to see Krishna and Mohiniyattam. But when you're teaching at Gopika, you're going to be just in a simple sari, right? You're going to be
Yes.
conducting the class in your sari. Will you be getting up and dancing? Will you be
I
dancing?
want to show some poses, movements, but it is more of Padartha and 2 Sanjaris I have put. So that, but I don't want to give the movement, I don't want to spoon feed the artist.
Hmm.
So when you get up and do it, then we are asking them to do exactly the way I want to do it. I want to show them. No, I am not doing it, because I saw the previous Tamrapatra workshops. Many of them are very senior artists. Many of them everybody is an established artist who have joined this Tamrapatra. So we don't have to spoon feed them. We don't have to do that, because they are all very eminent dancers, or either they are eminent or they are the shishyas of eminent dance gurus. So I am just going to give the content. I am going to give my thought, how I have approached it. I am going to give the dream what I have about this
The Radha.
Adam, Kirtanam, and how I would do it and how I want to do it. That I will tell them, and end of this, I want to have a discussion.
Of course. That we are doing. That we will be doing on day 2. On day 2. Yes.
To second day, so that these are the options you have. Some of them will have better options. They can always incorporate that to this. But this is how I will be doing. But not only in Mohiniyattam, it can be used in all the styles.
I think that's why the Geeta Govindam is actually so popular across all styles in India, because everybody's doing it. In fact, I actually got a little, not upset, but a little irritated, because even Kuchipudi many people have stopped doing Telugu compositions and they're doing Ashtapatis.
Yes.
And I was telling the Kuchipudi girls, but you have to go to Telugu compositions. That's the essence and soul of the style. But I think that's the beauty of Jayadeva and his influence. Because we were talking earlier, Gopika, of Jayadeva's unmistakable influence on Annamacharya. And Annamacharya, who for him, Alamelu Manga was everything in terms of the female divinity and Shakti. Here, Radha gets a preeminent position.
I was very surprised, because when I asked Anupama, I was thinking that she will give me an Alamelu Manga song. And I was thinking that I have to bring Alamelu's Manga's stories, because no, Anita, you have Ananda, all of you, I like to tell stories through dance. So I always, even in talking also, I tell stories. So that story input, what all I should put, I was thinking. But then this was so good. And Ashtapati has become an indigenous part of Mohini, Kerala. Because all Vaishnava temples, Palli Unarthal and Palli Urakkam of the Lord is by singing Ashtapati.
Right.
Putti Seva means Edekya. With the Edekya, they Putti Padi. Putti and Padi, they sing Ashtapatis. It is so surprising that it is not Swadhi Tirunal or it is not anybody else which is sung in all the Kerala temples. It is Ashtapati which is sung in all the Kerala temples. And those days, no internet, no WhatsApp, no computers, no nothing. How it traveled all the way from Orissa to Kerala, that to Kerala there. But then I was asking so many people, they said in the Bhakti movement, there were so many Gosamis and so many that culture was there. So they
Yes.
never cling to any territory.
Correct.
They were
Exactly.
traveling. They were not like us. You, என்னோட பாட்டு, என்னோட பதம் இது. No, nobody should take it. Nobody should.
So cute.
யாரும் எடுத்துட்டு போக கூடாது. No. They were not like that. They were so generous. They sang, and they must have come to Kerala and that culture. He gave that song to Kerala culture. Kerala Kuttipadi Seva. It is part of our ritual. In Guruvayur, in Padmanabha Swami temple, in any temple you take, even a small temple or a Mahakshetram, Kuttipadi Seva, and that too of Ashtapadi. And we say that in Bhagavatam there is no Radha, Narayanam there is no Radha. As you all know, the
Yes.
Radha started, the Radha movement
With Jayadeva.
started
With Jay.
Correct.
Jayadeva.
With Jayadeva.
But
Yes.
that Radha moment, what people say is imaginary. Radha is not an important person in Bhagavatam. It is just said that Krishna was in love with a special Gopika. That's all.
Special
Everyone-
Gopika. Yes.
So Anupama and I, Anita, Anupama and I were chatting before this, and she was mentioning Ashtapadi Atam. Gopika, what is this Ashtapadi
That's
Atam?
what I was
Love to listen
I
to
was
that. Love to hear. know.
because then this Radha is not a very important character in our but after Bhakti movement, I think this Radha cult came, and maybe from this point of Jayadeva that Ashtapadi Atam has come. From there only, I don't think there is a history before Jayadeva for that, because Radha was not there before that, not very popular. And Ashtapadi Atam is very, 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 very popular nowadays. And lot of Kerala Nadanam, the art form Kerala Nadanam, no, which is a new art form where Guru Gopinath Guruji has created a new art form, because he was influenced by the modern dance, and he incorporated.
Yeah.
And my mother is his student. And my mother learned Kerala Nadanam, and my aunt Lekha Srinivasan also learned Kerala Nadanam. So in that Kerala Nadanam, nowadays, male and female together, Radha and Krishna, they do Ashtapadis.
Coming like
But
a nice full circle,
Very nice.
But
Yes.
Swati Tirunal Kridis and all, Radha is not mentioned.
Yes. No, she's not.
No.
Yes.
No.
Anupama, I have a thought, two thoughts. The Orissa Kerala Connect. Orissa also has a very strong tantric tradition,
Exactly.
and so does Kerala. So I think that there must have been a connection, of course, a very older connection. And I think as the Bhakti movement came to its ascendancy, which is about 17th century,
Yes.
I think by that time, the Krishna consciousness swept Bengal and Northeast.
Yes.
So I think by that time, I think the Radha figure, character, imagery has sort of had just invaded people's consciousness.
Yes.
So it was, and being human, as we had spoken before, and somebody who was, many believe, older than Krishna, a special Gopika and older than Krishna, it just sort of many other barriers, I think, for connecting with a god sort of fell away.
Yeah.
And she became that person that people could just elevate and adore and absorb
Yes.
as that. So it's almost natural, that she became this enormous influence in
Across
North
the-
India,
across
especially.
the country,
Yeah.
actually.
I think culturally also Bengal and Orissa and Kerala share many, many common things. Just like Karnataka and Maharashtra share
Anupama, there
lot
is a
of
very
commonalities.
strong, Anupama,
And the
there is a
Parsh-
very strong story about Kerala and Bengal. I will
Yes,
tell you
yes.
sometime.
And even the Parshurama cult also
Parshurama type, yes.
connected
That is why
to the
we don't tie
Parshurama
hair.
cult.
We put
Yes,
red
so there are
bindi.
many, many similarities because of the Parshurama cult also. So I think that these, like how the Varkari tradition and the Dasa traditions are so identical, I think it's a very similar kind of a thing. And Yes, there are some Puranas talk about Radha as older, some talk about her as 2 weeks, 3 years after Krishna, 2 weeks after his birth. So there are many versions to the whole thing and many stories, of course. But yes, I think,
we
and
need
I
a
think
whole.
I have one thought on this. The Kerala temples, the Ashtapadis becoming the main thing. I think this is the aftermath of the ritual system that was established in Puri Jagannath by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time. I think that is what kind of percolated everywhere, because the Ashtapadi or the Gita Govindam was a ritual performance always initially, and that is what was danced in the Sanctum Sanctorum in lot of privacy. And there are many texts which just describe and define, which we can even find in Saraswati Mahal. In fact, even in the Tamil tradition, you have a text in the Saraswati Mahal which talks about all the mudras in detail as to how the Ashtapadi must be done in ritual. I think there is a lot we need to still find about the Ashtapadi, especially what is that Gandharvam that Jayadeva is talking about, the musical structure, because I'm sure it is not the musical structure we're following today in the different styles. So there is a lot which we don't know. And I think that was a primary ritual content. And as you said, because of the Shakta Tantra and the Krishna Bhakti, the tantric connections between Kerala and Bengal, they must have just adopted that ritual as it is into Kerala.
And also the Sopanam, no? Sopanam. This is called
The
Sopanam,
methodology,
which is sung at the Sopanam of the temple.
exactly.
And
I suspect that Gandharvam is actually very akin to what Sopanam would probably be.
And I think this Desakshi Ragam also is sung in the Sopanam style. I think
Sopanam
I've
style.
heard of, yes. So there is a lot of,
Kathakali, my singer, who is a Kathakali singer also, he knows about the ragam and he was very familiar with the ragam.
excellent.
The
So we are
ancient
in
ragas.
good flame,
Yes.
good
Yes.
space. Yeah.
And when you win, and lot of people say that, oh, that Ashtapadi I have learned, this Ashtapadi I have learned, I know those Ashtapadi. So this is a very fresh approach to the Radha and Krishna concept. So I'm really looking forward. I am singing it, and I am trying to take it inside me, and
We're all looking forward. We're all extremely looking forward to the session 4.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you so much for the entire team for thinking about
Enough time for thanks now.
I think, Gopika, with every artist, and as all of us are looking and sharing, those of us who are in performance or even in research and scholarship across generations, because now the attendance is young students in their 20s and people in their 50s are also there, and I think
They're all
some in
there.
their 30s. But I think what is lovely is that the ideas are generated.
Yes.
The possibilities and the ideas, because every choreographer like you will give you that world, that broader framework, and then from there we can build. But for me it's particularly interesting because I've studied Mohiniyattam and Kathakali, and I love the way there's so many wonderful hastas.
Yes.
Much more than Bharatanatyam has. So much more than Bharatanatyam.
We follow
Hastalakshana Deepika. Yes.
So it's so beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to this, Gopika, and it'll be wonderful to attend your session as a student.
You know something, Anita, I wanted to add on. Young dancers are really loving it. Young, I mean, I wouldn't call them young, established, young from our age perspective, but established and well-known dancers are also talking about it. In fact, Mithun Sham, whom you all know, after Anupama session, he said, "Ma'am, that's like an idea bank. Now I have a bank of ideas." So that's exactly what Tamrapatra is doing, throwing in as many ideas as possible from as many creative minds as possible. And thank you all for being that wonderful, generous artists that you all are. So Anita, Anupama, any other questions for our incoming choreographer? Or
No, I think that
yes,
I think that it's going to be very interesting because, as she said, she's not going to be standing up and dancing it.
Yes,
but she's going to be approaching it. She's approaching it from her Mohiniyattam training, and her mind and her background that's very interested in music and Sanskrit.
Right.
So
a lot of strands coming in.
Yes.
yeah, so we will get a very different approach. And for the very first time, we are getting a heroine who is not Alamilu Manga. So
Yes.
in that sense, I'm looking forward to the kind of personality that Gopika is going to create for Radha. So I think that's going to be
Thank
very
you.
interesting.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anita Ratnam, for ideating and anchoring these Tamrapatra conversations. With your scholarship, these conversations are getting more and more interesting. And of course, to our beautiful blue bindi, Dr. Anupama Kailash. I've always loved her colorful bindis. What happened to your blue eyeliner? It's missing.
Yes, Akka.
So, and her scholarship, of course, as Anita said, is like an Akshaya Patra. We keep cherishing your scholarship and your knowledge and your generosity. Thank you, Anupama, for being with us. Thank you, Anita, and our beauteous, gorgeous Mohiniyattam guru, performer, scholar, Gopika Verma, for accepting to be our invited guru and performer and choreographer for Tamrapatra Session 4 with Radha's Mystique, the beautiful title that's been given by Dr. Anupama Kailash with Gopika Verma's choreography on the 9th and 10th of October, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. To a beautiful Sanskrit Annamacharya Sankirtana, Atishobhiteyam Radha in the Desakshi Ragam, composed by Satyaraj Venumadhav. And yes, you can please register. Registrations are open at tamrapatra.mystrikingly.com. Do register, because even if you can't join in live, we will send you the sessions. So you don't want to miss this. You will have a beautiful Sanskrit composition, delineated, choreographed with the music, all waiting for you. So all you need to do is go and register. See you soon at Tamrapatra Session 4. Thank you very much. Namaste from all of us at Tamrapatra Conversation.
ಅರುದು ತಾಳಪಾಕ ಅನ್ನಮಯ್ಯ ಪದಮುಲು